There is a sequel to Mind Games, which is it's a novella, so it's a little shorter, and it's coming out in ebook in December in the UK. I've got a new book called Book of Lies, which is out in March in the UK, so I hope that'll be out in Denmark at some point in the future. Do books have the power to change your life? I suppose they can change the way that you think about things. That's a tough one, isn't it? What to expect? Okay, well, the Slettet trilogy is set in a near future in London, and it's about a 16-year-old girl named Kyla who's had her memory wiped as punishment for a crime. But there's something a bit different about her, and she starts getting traces of her memories coming back in her dreams, of a past she's not meant to have, and people are going missing. So she's trying to work out, what's going on before something happens to her. So that's the trilogy. So there's the 3 books in that one. The new book, Mind Games, it's set in a far future. So it's less recognizable world with more different technology. So it involves virtual worlds. So in this world, most teenagers will spend most of their time plugged into virtual worlds where they can hang out with their friends, or be in game worlds, or you can go on holiday. You can look how you like and dress how you like, and even have whatever virtual boyfriend or girlfriend that you might like. So you can see how that could be quite appealing. And that's about Luna, who's 17 in that one, and she has something that's a bit different about her. So she refuses technology because when she plugs in, the real world doesn't vanish the same way it does for everyone else, and that's kind of how the story starts. I don't think I set out in that mindset when I'm writing. I try to, I'm just interested in characters and situations and writing a good story, but there's no question that things that worry me show up in the things that I write. So, I think in Mind Games, it's this whole idea of how people just keep spending more and more time hooked up to their devices, their phones and their iPads and computers and this and that, to the point where people that they know online seem more real to them than people in their families or their friends, and just how that is changing society. So I'm not necessarily saying that it's a bad thing, so I wouldn't necessarily put that as a criticism, but it's an observation, I suppose, and just sort of wondering where it could lead. I can't think of a single question no one's ever asked me yet. I honestly can't. I can't think of one.
They have been thorough.
They've been very thorough.
Okay.
I can tell you the ones I don't like to answer. No, maybe I shouldn't do that. Surprised me. I suppose in a surprise kind of sense, there was a few characters in the Slettet trilogy that, I plot more now than I used to at that point, I think, and there were certainly characters in the Slettet trilogy that did surprise me. So that would be like her adopted parents, both her mother and her father, don't really turn out quite how you expect them to at the beginning, and I didn't necessarily know that was going to be the case. Her adopted mother doesn't seem like the nicest person when you first meet her, but there was something different, just the way she is, her exterior, sort of hides things that have happened to her, and she's actually quite all right. I'm giving away a lot of plot here if anyone reads them. Whoops. But that did surprise me because I didn't know I was going to do that. And I suppose, I can't go into too much detail, but I'm writing a new trilogy now, and I've got a character in that who was going to be the absolute, just not a nice person, and then he does something really nice. And I didn't know he was going to do that either. So they do surprise me sometimes. Yeah. And I think people are more interesting. Characters are far more interesting if they have those kind of dimensions, because, in the real world, bad people sometimes do good things, and good people sometimes do bad things. Yeah. And, that's sort of more realistic, and I like characters to be like that. I just think it's more interesting. Oh, that's an interesting one. I think as a writer, when something's published, I'm a perfectionist, and I would keep changing them forever if I could. So, but that's mostly the picky stuff, like changing sentences around or moving commas and things. I suppose in Slettet, the setup of it was probably a bit more complicated than it needed to be. And I think, in hindsight, when I was writing the second and third book, and I kept getting confused about her left hand and her right hand and her brain and all that kind of stuff, and I thought actually I could have made that a bit more easy for myself and for everyone else. But I don't necessarily know that I would go back and change it now, because I sorted it out in the end. It was all fine. So there's that. I suppose when you're being edited, sometimes editors make suggestions that you don't agree with, and usually, you know, if I've got a reason to say, actually, I don't think we should do that, then I will, you know, we'll have a debate about it, and I'll quite often prevail. There might have been the odd thing in Slettet that if I had over again, I might not have changed, but they're so minor, you know, really, that no one but me would ever notice.
Yeah.
I'm probably not that ready to talk about it that much, but I mean, the working title is the Dark Matter Trilogy. It's set in the UK. It starts in Scotland. A lot of it's set in Scotland, some in Northern England, but it's set in the current world. But I think something happens that very quickly changes everything and makes it something different. So, yeah, I'm quite excited about it. So it's funny, when I finished the Slettet trilogy, writing a trilogy is just so hard. Hear all the violins in the background. It's so hard. You know, it's just because of trying to balance the elements between the different books and thinking about what you have to keep straight and what you have to remember and what you're going to hold back and what you're going to leave for the next book, that I really wanted to write standalones after that. But I just hit the point where actually I was just really ready to write a trilogy again. So. I get asked that a lot. It's hard to say, but I think of all time, I would probably say The Lord of the Rings, because I read that over and over and over again when I was a teenager. This year, oh geez, that's a tough one. I don't know if you have translated in Denmark, Frances Hardinge. I think it's Harding, actually. It's spelled Harding. She wrote a book called Cuckoo's Song. It's just won the British Fantasy Book of the Year, and that was probably one of my favorites this year. That springs to mind. I really loved it. She's another person who's got an imagination that you can't quite believe. Well, the best part is you're making things up for a living, and actually, well, in your pajamas, usually in my case. And you know, there's not many jobs you can do in your pajamas, so that's a plus, in my opinion. The worst part, I think, speaking as someone who's a bit of a control freak in some respects, I think as an author, you don't have a lot of control over everything that happens to you or your books. And I think that's something that initially is quite hard to accept and to understand, and sort of navigating the publishing world, because most of the big decisions that have a huge impact on you, you don't make. And I mean, I've had great publishers and had a really, you know, amazing time with these books, but I know friends that I think their books are really good and they've done absolutely nothing because of no marketing and so on, and that's sad. So I think probably that lack of control is a little difficult, but I'm actually a lot more chilled out about that than I probably was when my first book was first coming out. So. Varies a bit. Usually I would probably say that I would read, but we went on a holiday just recently. I thought I was going to read a ton of books and I didn't, and I think I just didn't want to look at words for a few weeks. So, but usually the reading would be a big one. I don't know, like hanging out with my husband, going out for dinner, simple things, I guess. Yeah. Going for walks. Walking is a really good way to get your brain clear when you're sort of struggling with something with writing too, actually. Yes. Oh, pirates. Yeah.
Pirates. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Well, that might be coloured by the fact that I'm about to go to a big writing convention dinner in a couple of weeks' time where the theme is pirates.
Oh, right.
Yes, yeah. So I'm sort of in a pirate frame of mind.